Welcome back to Keeping It Real with Jack and Ral.
God, you started without me.
How could I start without you?
Well,
How could I do
exactly.
anything without you?
Well, that's true. That's true.
So humble.
Hey, how's things?
Things are good. Things are really, really good. Having a bloody good day because we're recording our podcast.
How's the renovations going?
Oh, God, can you hear them
They're
in
still
the background?
going.
Bang,
They're still
bang,
going. We keep
hammer,
thinking
hammer.
they'll go away, but they won't.
Oh, it'll be worth it, keepers. I'll take you on a tour of my house when it's all done. Another 12 months.
Next podcast we'll record from the ensuite.
The new one, so it's large enough. It probably could.
We could. We could. Hey, we're mixing it up this episode.
We are. I'm a bit
little bit.
excited about this one.
Yeah, so we've decided to do what is inspiring us series, but we're going to start with me. So what's inspiring Ral?
What is Inspiring Ral?
So we've broken it down to a few little
Yeah.
categories we thought would help what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
So
before you go on,
Yes.
so I think the point of this, when we were sort of chatting about our topics, and you suggested this one, it was like, I know when I listen to somebody or I read something about someone and they all give you some tips on what they're listening to or what they're reading. And I always find that fabulous and I get lots of ideas from that. So I thought, you're pretty well read, you're well travelled, you get around, girl.
I get around.
Hey?
I get around.
Get around.
And
So it'd be good to hear what is inspiring you.
And we've had quite a few keepers that tell us every book you suggest or every
Yeah, they go
podcast,
out and buy it
they
or
go
read
out
it,
and
download it.
and that. So yeah, so
Exactly right.
I want to start with people.
Okay.
So
Who is
Well,
inspiring you?
last month I spent a couple of weeks at Bermagui, which is a very small town on the southern New South Wales coast. Where
Yeah.
we've got a property there and we spend a lot of time there.
Nice.
And this was in the middle of the winter, so it's a summer town.
How many people would live in Bermagui, roughly?
I think it's 1,500.
Oh, so tiny.
So it's tiny. So the people that I come across that inspire me, small town business owners,
Oh, yeah.
Yes. You know what? They are just getting by. They're just
Yeah,
getting by.
sure.
And it comes, 6 months of the year.
A lot of risk,
A lot of risk. And you see some of them even, it was like that's their retirement option. And you see them like it's
a
hard
struggle.
work.
Yeah, it's a
And they sort
struggle.
of always look tired. But
Yeah.
they're always happy and
Yeah,
smiling.
yeah.
They
I
inspire
love
me.
that.
Yeah.
I love that, Ral. So I live near, we're right in the middle of two towns and both have got populations around 5,000 each. So it's like
Yeah.
quite a lot larger than Bermagui.
Yeah.
And we've got restaurants and cafes and bakeries. And what I love about those businesses is that they are absolutely taking a risk. They do rely on tourists and long weekends and holidays. But what's really beautiful and what also inspires them to keep going is the locals, yeah? Because they keep the trade happening when the tourists aren't there. But I think that's a great call out.
Yeah,
It's not anyone famous. It's people that are running small business who we think are famous because they're bloody good for us.
Yeah.
And as a result, they inspire us.
Yeah. So next time
love
you're
it.
going through a small town,
Yeah.
stop and bloody buy something. What else is inspiring me around people is people who are grieving.
Oh, okay. So what inspires you about people that are grieving?
Well, I think it's a couple of things. First of all, I don't think I've ever suffered grief as such. My dad passed away 4 years ago, but he was old and sick, and it was, it was sad, the loss of dad, but it wasn't like grief. I'm talking about when people lose their children, like their children die, or,
Close to home.
A friend of mine up at, when I was away last July, her husband died of suicide like about 18 months earlier.
Living with that.
She had to sell the family home, went through just a shitty process with the stepkids and stuff. It was terrible. But what inspires me about her is even though it's terrible times and she has dark times and she's sad and she's still positive.
Wow.
Like you can still sit there and laugh and she's just, it is one day at a time for her, but every time you see her, she's sort of getting better. And it's just like, I just think, God,
that is inspirational, Ral.
Some people go through so much grief.
Dreadful trauma and dreadful grief. So your point there is she is suffering, but she's not burdening other people with that personal grief. So the inspiration there is she gets on and she puts on a positive facade. And I suppose the more positive you put on, the more positive you become. I mean, we are the stories we tell ourselves, right? So it's possibly helping her in some way.
Yeah. And
That
it's
is
not
inspirational.
And it's not just like Pollyanna or happy.
No,
it was
no,
like, but she's,
no.
you know, she's moving on. And like, you know, we talk about some of the stuff we spoke about in previous episodes, like choose your attitude.
Yeah.
It was like, you know, when people are being shitty and bringing everything down because they couldn't get their coffee in the morning, you've got no idea of what some people
Other people are going through, and your friend is a perfect example of that.
So those type of people are inspiring me.
Great. What about Kylie? You haven't even mentioned Kylie, your favourite person.
She did just release another song last month, but
Just
you know,
one?
Well, you know, she's inspiring that she's been around for
100 years.
4 decades. Like, there's not many artists that have had a number one single
No.
in 4 decades in a row.
No.
So yes,
And she's on her own. She's done that herself.
yeah, I think you're starting to become a Kylie fan, just quietly.
Absolutely not.
You
Loudly.
You are. I saw you before with your bloody hot pants on, spinning around.
Can you imagine? Poor Keelan. What? Stop vomiting. What else inspires you, Ral?
Okay, so what else? And so one of the things we want to talk about is health and well-being.
Very important to both of us.
So when I was at Bermagui in our little town, I've got a veggie garden, and I love being in that
didn't even know you
veggie
had a
garden.
veggie garden.
Oh my God. So you know why? I used to love being in this veggie garden. It was like, I love it. And it's massive. COVID hit. And then we couldn't go up, and then it sort of, you know, it overgrew, and then the sides of the veggie garden started to cave in.
Yeah.
And for about 2 years I have not stepped
too
inside
hard.
of it. It was just too hard. And anyway, we were up there and we thought, I had a little dig. The soil is really good because it hasn't
rich.
had it. It's beautiful
Organic.
soil and those big fat worms in
That's
it.
always a sign.
And it was
Fat
like,
worms.
Steve goes, we'll fix it up. So we've fixed it up. We've turned the soil over. We're going to get
back.
it ready. We're back, baby. And like, you know what I missed about it and why I'm sort of inspired about it, because the first thing I used to do every time we'd go to Bermagui, the first thing I do is get into the veggie garden and see what grew and spend hours weeding. And I hate gardening as such, but
There's something about the veggie
there's
garden.
something about the veggie garden that's
And
different.
you're a great cook, and you do a lot of cooking
I love
using vegetables.
Yes. So there is nothing better when Steve's gone out and caught fish and I've got stuff from the veggie garden, and it's almost self-sustainable.
I love
and
it.
I've often joked that the only thing we would need to do
Is get a cow.
No, to figure out how to make our own wine. But if we just
You don't need to do that. We've got Wild Duck Creek Estate.
Stock up on the Wild Duck Creek Estate, then I can, you know, we can literally
can live
have
there.
Fish, wine,
Vegetables.
like bloody Jesus.
Loaves. You just need a few loaves.
A few new loaves.
Oh, Jesus, I love it. So
right.
your veggie
So that's-
garden,
yes,
that's inspiring
that's
you
inspiring me.
under your health and well-being.
And getting back into fitness. So
You've always been in fitness. What do you mean getting back?
When I came back from New York in May, I came back with this
You were
terrible
sick.
cold.
You were sick.
I was coughing so much that I thought I broke a rib, and I had to go get an X-ray, and the X-ray said I didn't break a rib, but I'm just disputing that. They were so
What would they know?
I mean, what would
Those medical
X-rays know?
people.
I swear to God, it was so painful. And so I was out for a couple of weeks, and then I went to Arizona, if you can remember.
That's right. It was
and
hot.
I remember I was lying on a banana lounge, as you do, when it's 43 degrees.
Poor
and I got out of the banana lounge, and this is where I think I really did break my rib. I had this shooting pain. And anyway, my ribs got worse.
Oh, God, I didn't know all
I
this.
could not, like I couldn't, there's no way known I could run.
No.
Like, I couldn't even walk at pace.
No.
Really.
Oh, wow.
There was a fantastic gym at the resort. I couldn't even go to the gym,
frustrating.
and so it's taking me a long time to get over the cold.
Yeah.
but then to get over the ribs.
Yes.
So I hadn't been running or exercising for about 3 months, and I really miss it. So I'm being very excited to get back into that.
I'm incredibly envious. So it's so dark and cold here in winter at the farm. It really is.
Yeah.
And it's also icy and slippery.
Yes, and you wouldn't
I
want to
don't
have
want
a
to fall
off.
over. I'm a falls risk. I've been told before. And the idea of breaking a bone and being out of action. Imagine me being in a wheelchair while we did the podcast. I mean, that just wouldn't be a look, would it?
I just feel sorry for Richard thinking about you being a patient.
Feel sorry for me,
no,
not
no,
Richard.
No, I know. I feel sorry for Richard. You'd be a terrible patient.
Rude.
You would
anyway,
be.
back to what I was saying.
should
Getting
get
back
it.
into fitness.
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
haven't been running. I've paused the running. Lewis is on to me. What's happening? You're out.
You would have that problem every winter. You should invest in a treadmill maybe. Or do you not like treadmills?
Well, I'm still exercising. I still walk.
Okay,
I walk and walk and walk and walk. I walk the farm morning and
all right.
night, and I'll often take the dog into town and do the botanic gardens. But it's not running, and I love my running.
Yeah.
However, I have made a commitment just to ease up on myself. It's okay to pause.
It's just
long as I'm moving, and I am.
Yeah.
I'm still getting my steps up. I still track my fitness. I feel good.
Yeah.
I look good.
You look good. Success
Humble
delusion.
as success delusion from our last episode. Okay, so you've got your veggie garden. You're getting back into your running and your fitness.
Yep,
that is
that's
good news. What else is inspiring you, Ral?
Thinking a bit of pop culture, what we're watching, listening, reading to, whatever.
I just finished watching the Gentleman series on Netflix.
Oh.
Have you seen it?
No. What's it called? The Gentleman series?
The Gentleman.
Oh, The Gentleman.
Guy Ritchie created a movie called The Gentleman. He's now done a series.
Right.
And it's 8 episodes. Oh, my God, the lead character.
Oh, calm down there, love. She's getting
But
all
it's
hot
so.
and
Have you seen
sweaty.
it, Keelan? It is. I thought the series was just a breakdown of the movie. Oh no, you've got to watch The Gentleman on Netflix.
Never heard
Brilliant.
of it, but I will get into it.
So sorry for interrupting you.
When we're going to do what's inspiring you next episode, you can just keep
I'll come
that.
up with some more.
Hold on for that. When we started this podcast, we thought we've got to do live shows at some point. Wouldn't it be cool if we did live shows? About a month ago, 6 weeks ago, Chat 10, who's a podcast
Annabelle
that
Crabb,
we love, that
Lee
we've
Sales.
been inspired by. So Annabelle
great
Crabb,
women.
Lee Sales.
Great women.
They're 10 years they've been doing that podcast for. So we're here doing it for 6 months or whatever, longer, 10 years. And so they did a live episode in London.
Why London, given they're Aussies?
I think they said it was a paper thin excuse to do
Just
a
to
show
go
in
and
London.
travel.
I think they ended up doing live shows in Australia as well.
Good on
but
them.
it started off in London. And so I
Annabelle Crabb
listened
and
to
Lisa.
that. I'd be disappointed if it took us 10 years to do
It's
a
not
live
taking
show in
us 10
London.
years to go to London.
No, we're more impatient.
We're
than,
way
than
more
Crabb and Sales.
impatient. Absolutely. So no, look out London. Look out New York. We're coming.
Yeah, we could do.
We're coming for you.
World tour.
A keeper's world tour. Some keepers might want to come with us, That'd be fun. We could take some Wild Duck Creek with us. We could make it a bit of a business, tour.
We could do like an escape, like do a coaching. We could run coaching and training and
Exactly right. Go and base ourselves in bloody Mayfair for a week or two.
yeah,
Then
pick some
into
place.
bloody
Where would we go? London,
London and New York.
New York. Where
Yeah.
else?
Maybe somewhere like warm. Maybe
somewhere
island
warm.
like Maldives or Tahiti or something.
Tahiti, Simon. Tahiti looks nice. Remember that ad? The
No.
the Imperial leather.
Anyway, we digress.
Anyway.
Okay, so we're going to London, we're going to New York, and you're inspired by Annabelle Crabb and Lee Sales and their Chat 10 tour, which was live. Love that.
Now, the other thing I've been doing lately, I was inspired when I reread Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, because I've got these business books in my office that are just like classics, because, we've been around for a while. And so I pulled out some books, and the one I noticed I pulled out, Who Moved My Cheese?
Oh, my God, I haven't seen that in years.
Okay, I'm going to tell you a story about this.
It's not very sort of comprehensive.
It's not very comprehensive.
It's barely anything.
It's fairly. It's a very.
But I remember at the time it being such a big deal.
I think it's a very loose excuse of a book. Just quietly.
Yeah.
It was a big deal.
It was
and
a
can I tell you how
massive
much of it? So it was written in early 90s, I think.
I was going to say late 80s, early 90s, yeah.
When I publish books, you get an update from the publisher of where your book is in the top 100.
Yes.
And by default, you get a list of all the top 100 books.
Okay.
Who've Moved My Cheese is in the top 100 every week still to this day.
After all this time.
30 whatever years on, it is still there. And I remember, so it's about change.
This...
1998.
1999, 1998.
Right,
there you
okay.
are.
So
Very
late 90s.
late.
I remember when I was leading up one of the big transformational changes at NAB. It was one of the implementations of SAP. Remember that when that came around? Oh my God,
SAP.
that was massive.
I'm back.
And we bought a copy of Who Moved My Cheese.
For everybody?
For everybody. Yeah. I think it was.
Or was it $1.50?
It was probably about 50 cents back then.
Has it inspired you?
Well, it inspired me to read it again.
And?
So if I had to say to you, like, don't, right?
Yeah.
People might remember there's 4 characters.
I barely remember it. I mean,
Okay.
I remember reading it. I remember the big movement.
Sniff and Scurry and Hem and Haw, right? And I always remember the names. I thought they were all mice because it's
Sound
about
like
cheese.
porn characters.
No, well, 2 of them are mice, so I reread it.
Sniff and who?
Sniff and Scurry.
And?
They're the mice, right?
And?
So it's about the concept. So can I just tell you, I reread it, and now as an expert storyteller,
7-book author.
shit story. Seriously.
So it's not inspiring you.
I mean, I wish I could write a shit
badly.
book and it'd still be in the top 100.
I think it was less about the book and the content and more about the idea or the concept, right? At the time, it was a bit revolutionary.
It's roughly about a story about this maze, and there's 2 mice in the maze.
That's right.
But the 2 other people that I thought were mice
Porn stars.
were little humans.
What are their names?
Hem and Haw.
Rest my case.
And so Sniff and Scurry, the 2 mice, they go off and sniffing and scurrying along and find mice and find cheese. And when the cheese moves, they sniff and scurry and find more cheese. Where Hem and Haw go, hem, haw. Well, let's wait for the cheese to come back.
So the point is what?
The point is to, when someone's moved your cheese, as in when change has happened, move on.
So instead of the jargon, we could have just made a title of when change happens.
They have little
No
inspirational.
more, Ral. No more. We're done. We're done.
Inspirational quotes in cheese.
Stop it. You're not inspiring anyone to read this again.
Move with the cheese and enjoy it.
Oh, God, I love cheese.
Anyway, can I just say, it inspired me to read it, but it's a shit book.
It's a shit book.
And so
have you got a better
others.
book?
I can have. So when I left NAB, Catherine, who I used to work with, gifted me this book, and it's Weasel Words by Don Watson.
Yeah,
and I
Don
think
Watson's
this is where all my inspiration for jargon-free Fridays and stuff like that.
Don Watson, legend.
So, yeah,
Weasel Words.
It's just a whole thing of we say these words and what do we mean? Like on the back cover it says negative patient outcomes.
What does that mean?
They died.
Yeah. I love that. Negative patient outcomes means they died. Yeah. I love it. I love it. I wonder if there is an abridged version or there's stuff online around this. There probably is. Weasel Words. It'd be a cheat sheet or something.
Yeah. It's all about the consequences of jargon and stuff like that.
Yeah. Very cool. So, very cool.
So that's what inspired me. And on a final one, we thought about work stuff, like inspiring. I've actually got really increasing my overseas keynotes.
Yeah.
So I've got a couple of gigs coming up in next year. So really enjoy the keynote. I mean, I love training. Yeah. I love training. Love it. But I love the keynotes.
Something about a good keynote.
And especially in America. Yeah, I think you know what? We need to do a podcast episode on giving and receiving compliments. I think we've spoken about especially receiving compliments.
Yeah, great
but
point.
My God, what Americans are good at is giving compliments. And and you think, oh mate, why do I love it so much? Because I walk off stage feeling like a bloody rock star.
Success delusion.
Because seriously,
positive reinforcement.
And it just feels it's very
but
different.
But how nice to experience
but
that.
It's very different from a keynote in Australia. Yeah. So a keynote in Australia, even though you'll get off and people go, oh, that was great.
Yep.
It's normally smaller crowds. Yeah. So smaller crowds and people go, that was great.
Yeah. But Americans do things
Americans
big,
larger and go, oh my God, you're amazing.
Yeah, clap and cheer But
I'm excited about that. So
and with good reason. Anywhere overseas specifically you'd like to go and do a keynote, if you could go anywhere, where would it be? Somewhere you haven't been before, or somewhere
you know what I do? I actually really like going to places I've never been to. So when I was in Arizona, like a few months ago, I'd never been to Arizona.
No.
So it's a really good opportunity. If you had to keep,
going back.
I've done them in New York before and Washington, and great. But if everyone was back at the same place,
it'd be boring.
It'd be boring. Yeah. So I really
somewhere
like
you haven't
going
been,
different places, which you could.
Cool.
And the other thing that's inspiring me about work, and maybe inspiring is the wrong word, but it's around this whole AI stuff.
Curiosity.
Yeah, and it's inspiring. I'm curious enough because I think it has the potential to completely change the way that we operate.
Are you using it?
Yes, I do use it.
Yep. How do you use it? What are you doing?
I predominantly use ChatGPT. Yeah. So I will write a blog post and just either say, use it as an
example,
grammar check or whatever. Sometimes when I'm writing an email and, it could be, we talked about, when you're angry and writing something.
Yes.
Does it change it? You've got to come up with taglines for something. So I'm organising a conference about inspirational leadership. Give me 10 taglines on this. I mean, I've done it before when I've travelled. Like when I was in London a while ago now, last year, it was like I just said, I'm a woman travelling by myself. Give me 10 things that I could do, fill in a day in London, and I don't like museums.
Well done.
So
it spat out.
Yeah, it spat out a few things, and one of them I went on, and it was really good. So I do
Great use of it.
And a lot of people ask me about storytelling and AI. Use AI as a prompter for your story.
Stories.
So if you go,
Still has to be personal.
I need a story on teamwork, you could go to ChatGPT, give me a story on teamwork, and it will spit out a story, but don't use it.
No.
Use that to go, actually, that reminds me of a similar experience,
yeah.
and you have that. So that's what I've been doing it. So that's what's been inspiring me.
Awesome things that have been inspiring you.
And next week we're going to hear about what's inspiring you.
Oh my goodness, the pressure. Best I start thinking
better get
about
inspired.
that. There's a lot of things that inspire me, so I'm looking forward to that. What are you drinking at the moment, Ral?
I am drinking, so of course I'm drinking Wild Duck Creek Estate, but my absolute favourite
It's a beauty.
is the Spring Flat Shiraz
2021.
2021.
It's in our offer.
It's in our offer. This was a bit, we've spoken before about the wine being $25 and absolutely worth it. This is a bit more expensive. I think it's
58.
58.
If you're a keeper, it's 58. Otherwise, it's 65.
Right, okay.
So quite a discount.
So, maybe a special occasion wine or something like that. But I guarantee you, this will be a wine where you drink and go, wow, that is like
it's special.
so worth it.
Really, really special. Wild Duck Creek Estate continually inspires us. They're our partner for the podcast. It's a Heathcote family-run winery. They've been going for about 30 years. They create beautiful products. And if you're a keeper, you get access to an awesome offer. Just go to their website, type in Keeping It Real, and then put in the code Keepers.
Too easy.
Well, you inspire me, Gabrielle Dorlan. This has been awesome. I loved your people, health and wellbeing, pop culture and work inspirational ideas.
And I look forward to hearing yours next week.
Woohoo, no pressure.
So until then, keepers, keep on keeping it real. 5-star review, share and rate, all those things. Be happy.
Bye.
You've been listening to another episode of Keeping It Real with Jack and Ral. If you like what you've heard, don't forget to tell others about it and give a 5-star review. They may seem confident, but they really are sensitive 5-star needy souls. Yeah, right. Keeping It Real, created by Jack Phillips and Gabriel Dolan. Produced by Keelan Ferrari Brown. And this really real voiceover, spoken by Richard Phillips.